Sorry, it's taking so long. I'm actually just like nervous to open
No,
it.
take your time.
Mom, I'm actually gonna pray.
Okay, let's pray. I'll pray in my head too.
Okay, status update.
Okay.
Oh.
Check. Check.
I got it.
Alright.
No fucking way.
Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Brett Park, and in today's video, with something really fun and fresh happening. Today I'm showing y'all my updated portfolio, which consists of painting, sculpture, video, and photo. I submitted this portfolio to the Yale Norfolk Summer Residency Program, and I didn't think I'd get it, but I got it somehow. Am I gonna question it? No, but I definitely will in my brainsicle throughout every night leading up to it, because I still don't understand why that happened. Also, y'all, I'm literally dumb and didn't explain why I was so surprised to get it. This year, there's a total of 26 rising seniors that are going to Norfolk, and applicants come from both the US and Europe. And not only that, y'all, but in order to even apply, the school that you're at has to nominate you. And so I think I was one of 3 nominees from USC that was able to apply to the program. So obviously I was shocked to get it. But nonetheless, I think it's really important for people to understand the opportunities there are after you get into art school, because everyone just talks about the portfolios that get you in the door, but they don't talk about what you do after you're in the after you're in the room, right? So the Yale Norfolk program is one of those opportunities. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the art pieces, the descriptions for each one, and the video essay I submitted. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I also don't mind the painting in the back. It's a work in progress, so don't judge me. Please. The first painting I submitted is titled I'm Sorry I Had To, and it's this 5x6 oil on unstretched canvas moment. For this piece, I said that this painting depicts the unique struggles non-heteronormative individuals face when sexual identity contradicts cultural identity. The allegorical imagery reveals a psychological, emotional space where I reject my Korean culture entirely to self-express outside its limiting boundaries. Now, this piece was done in spring 2022, and so my rendering of bodies is not how I wanted it to be entirely. It's very color blocky. You can see the strokes for each section, especially on the shoulder. Even the tiger was rendered in such a way that it was very illustrative almost. It was not realistic at all. But I think it was a good piece to start out to because it was my earliest work and I wanted to just show improvement from there. And it sets the tone for my theme of the portfolio, which is about sexual and gender identity in context with and in relation to cultural identity. So my Korean American background, as I literally said like 5 freaking times. The second piece I submitted was called Threesome, and I actually don't like this piece at all anymore. I didn't even show it for the art show I just had because I thought that it was not strong at all. I don't know why I rendered the clothing in this way. So if I had to redo it, I would just submit a different painting, but at the time, it was one of my strongest works. I said this represents the struggle queer and gender non-conforming people experience when attempting to develop their self-concept in tandem with heteronormative binaries of the masculine and feminine. Though each figure was referenced by me, I did not prioritize my likeness in the paintings as I was more interested in the content surrounding how each body was interacting with one another. Oh my god, these fucking hiccups. Oh my god. Girl, I really want to redo this painting because I do like the composition of the bodies so much, but it's just not giving what it needs to give. The next piece was hiding in my hanbok, and I made the puffer jacket literally in fall 2021, and I ended up making the pants specifically for this portfolio to complete the hanbok this year in spring 2023. And so I did that specifically for this portfolio, and what I wrote about it was the most common interaction people have with cardboard is in the form of boxes. Today, boxes are used to order, categorize, schematize, and contain objects, and I use the act of deconstructing such cardboard boxes to parallel the deconstruction of social norms that categorize people based on their identity and background. After separating the layers of cardboard, I reconstructed and After separating the layers of cardboard, I reconstructed and hand sewed them to create an oversized wearable sculpture of a mixture between a Korean hanbok and a puffer jacket to symbolize the ways I attempted to compensate for my sexual identity by fronting a more masculine persona. I find that the scale of this work relates to pop art and the uncanny depicted in works of Amanda Ross Ho and Charles Ray, further revealing the inauthentic relationship between myself and these masculine caricatures I present. Now, looking back, I would right a couple things, because I talk about how deconstruction is a form of empowerment, but then in the second half I talk about how this is a caricaturized version of a masculine ideal that I constructed. So there's a gap between the process being empowering and the final piece being very hindering to my self-expression. So I'm still trying to work that out in my brain, but for future pieces, I want to create a wearable sculpture that has to deal with these similar forms of deconstruction in the form of empowerment to really just tie everything together. But clearly, I did not fucking do that for this piece. So on to the next one. This is titled Fetish for Me. And you can already tell that the rendering of the bodies and the figure in the back is so much better than the earlier paintings I show in the portfolio. And for the description, I said, drawing upon my experience as a chronically online individual who posts multiple times a week on various social channels and have engaged in platforms like Tinder. I know, embarrassing, whatever. We're all on those platforms, right? Right? Maybe that's just me. I grapple with the ironic and perhaps paradoxical relationship I have with self-fetishization. This piece combines the modern day selfie with a Renaissance-inspired nude recline to depict how interactions with the spectator through technological mediums subjects myself to further objectification that is catalyzed by my online presence. I find that there is an in-between space for if I'm objectifying myself or if I'm putting myself in a position to be objectified. This is why I place an expressionless figure taking a selfie in front of banal nude while preventing the viewer from seeing the most sexually charged parts of my body. So, yeah, that was that. Also, when I talk about self-fetishization, I'm talking about it not necessarily in a sexual sense, but also in the sense that I'm allowing my body to be looked at and viewed and surveilled. It goes back to also the irony of visibility for marginalized communities acts as a form of empowerment for sure, and we see that with like social media and certain social movements that have gained visibility for certain social change, but it also subjects these groups to more surveillance, more objectification, and more fetishization, which is all of course negative. And that gap is also seen today in America, especially with legislation attacking LGBTQ plus rights, but also that community is more visible than ever before. So I'm trying to explore those contradictions using myself as a reference point. Also, a little reason why I put myself in my artwork is because the history of painting is so vast and extensive, where I feel like I have nothing else to contribute to a conversation if I don't input my own personal experiences, because it is inherently unique if I speak from my own perspective. And so I think that gives me a more unique edge to my work. But also, I'm still trying to figure out if that in itself is kind of a naive thought, as just a young person trying to emerge as an artist, or if that actually is a legit reason why I'm doing everything. But it's not coming from necessarily an egotistical or narcissistic standpoint, especially because I'm rendering myself in like not great positions, you know what I mean? Like I'm distorting my face, distorting my body, putting it in like not necessarily the most attractive positions. That's the PSA. Moving on, I submitted 3 different pieces from this photo shoot that I had with my friends Phoebe and Kai. The first image I submitted is called Siloed, and the naked silhouettes on my body that are projected onto me are referenced from images online. It's about how sexual stereotypes and stereotypes about LGBTQ plus people are flattening my identity and reducing me to simply my sexual and gender identity. Projecting these violent stereotypes on my body forces me to go up against a wall and reduces my form into, again, the silhouettes that are on my body, because this flattening of myself is emphasized by the fact that it's a white backdrop. However, in the process of making this piece, and I'm also leveraging the vast history of this printmaking technique of carve blocking to talk about how printmaking historically was disseminating the same ideologies that oppress people of color, marginalized groups, etc. So using the medium to harken back to that history was also important to me. Allegedly, these damn hiccups. Oh my god. Is this funny or annoying, y'all? Because it's annoying me, but I don't know if it's funny to y'all. Oh. The second photo that I submitted from this series was titled Standing in a Corner. It's taking this youthful approach to how parents would often make you stand in a corner when you're being shamed and whatnot, and using that as a metaphor for how people outside the heteronormative spectrum are forced to stay in a corner. So what I wrote for this piece was, symbolizing the sexual repression and social isolation queer and gender nonconforming experience, this photograph visually communicates such themes as I subject myself to standing in a corner outside my apartment. Retrospectively, I wish this photo was documented as an actual performance where I stood in the corner with these markings on my body for an extended period of time, but I simply posed for the short duration in which this photo was taken. I intend to explore this as a performance piece later on, further considering this work in the context of people like Skip Arnold, Jennifer Locke, and more abstractly, Bruce Nauman. The last piece I submitted was called Propped, and this is a snippet of the performance piece itself. Warning, it's kind of maybe possibly intense. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, y'all, but this is what I said for the piece, so don't hate me. I intend to reflect upon the physical and psychological trauma queer and gender nonconforming people experience when attempting to escape the oppressive institutions and systems which flatten their entire being into flat sexual stereotypes. The brush and water afford me some agency in scrubbing away the black silhouettes that impair the beholder from seeing me. However, in scrubbing away the sexual figures, the ink and redness from the bristles of the brush leave evidence of the violence of such sexual projections. This work is meant to be placed in conversation with Sheng Huan's family tree, not only because of my Asianness and the inking on my body, but also because it represents how my cultural background as a Korean American limits my self-expression and oftentimes subsumes it with gendered heteronormative practices. Yeah, that was that. As I said earlier, I'm trying to think about more conceptual works rather than being technically perfect. And they literally said in the portfolio, like, it's not about using multiple mediums, like, you will not impress us if you use multiple mediums. So I thought they were gonna think that I wasn't reading the instructions when submitting my work, because I do span across multiple mediums, but I guess it was cohesive enough in theme where they were like, whatever. But yeah, those are the pieces of my portfolio. And for the video essay, fun freaking fact. Oh my god, I'm not feeling it, y'all. I'm not feeling it at all. For the video essay, they gave 3 different prompts, and the prompt I addressed was what work I want to do when I'm there at the residency. So I clipped together a bunch of footage from my YouTube channel, and I just made it all into a cohesive video showing the process of me deconstructing cardboard, me doing the printing piece that you literally saw just now, and I talked about how I wanted to combine wearable sculpture, performance, and printmaking to express the liberation and celebration of non-heteronormative people, or just marginalized groups in general, because so much of my work is dealing with the more negative side, and I want to express the more positive side in future works. I wish I could play the 1 minute and 26-second video, but y'all, I saved it to my computer, and get this, my MacBook freaking broke right after I submitted the portfolio, so I don't even have the damn footage. But that's the end of the video, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for the damn hiccups, but it just kind of happened. Anyways, if you like this video, like the video. If you have any questions, comments, and critiques, comment them down below. And if you like me, my art, or want to follow my journey as an art student in LA, you can subscribe. It's a fun time here. And I think that's the end of the video, y'all. That's the end of the video.